My first thought is, how do I follow that funny talk that's just been given? So I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to do, like you said, I know clarity. I know what I've come on stage with. I know my piece, so I'm just going to deliver it. I will never forget the day I broke the 6-meter barrier. I'm a long jumper, so that was an incredible moment for me. To put that into perspective, I launched myself from this takeoff point, raced down the runway, and launched myself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 meters and 11 centimeters into a sand pit. The funny thing was, though, that only a couple of hours before that momentous occasion, I was having a conversation with my coach, John Crotty. He's usually supremely jubilant, optimistic, and joyful. And he said, "Abs, I am so proud of you." But in his words, I felt the pride, but I also sensed something unspoken. Resignation, doubt, hesitation. Up to that point, this was the last opportunity for me to qualify for the World Youth Championships in 2007. Up to that point, I'd not done enough. And I heard in his words the resignation that, you know what, I'm proud of you because I don't want you to feel the pressure of going out and not doing what we've set out to do. And it's funny because that moment was so freeing. So when I stepped at the top of that runway, I stepped there with freedom, without the fear and the nerves. I felt so incredibly confident because I knew I was about to do something special. Fast forward 5 years, I have another incredible breakthrough moment, an Olympic breakthrough. And the reason I share these highlights of my sports career, these are just 2 of so many across almost 2 decades in my sport. I share these because these are our high-performance moments. I often speak about resilience, and we're not even going to really get into the struggle and the climb and the difficult moments and the moments where I've stumbled and fallen and had to rise again. But I want to talk about the thing that allows me to fly through the air. I want to talk about flow and how I tried to use flow state from sports to speaking, and hopefully give you a couple of tips of some of the strategies that have helped me as a newbie speaker to increase my level of mastery in this game. So, I want you to picture moments of flow where you've truly been in the zone, where you have just been so captivating, where the audience have lent in. What has that felt like? And how did you respond after that moment? Like, how am I going to respond when I get off this stage after doing this? I'll probably be like, oh my goodness, thank God it's done. In the most positive of ways. I wonder whether your response has been anything like this. I share that moment because, oh my gosh, just the range of emotions. I raced to the desk to check, oh my goodness, is it under the legal limit? Is it under 2 meters per second? Oh my God, it is! And that's when the celebration happened, that's when the tears happened, and even when I think about that moment, 12 years on from that day, even now I get emotional thinking about it. Surely that's what we all want, not just for ourselves, but equally this sparse audience in this empty stadium in Sofia, Bulgaria, on the 9th of June 2012. Surely that's what we want, to be captivating, to connect with the audience, to connect with the crowd in a way because we have elevated our game, because we've brought our best when it matters. So if we know what flow is, for those who maybe don't know, I want to give you a little bit of an introduction into the father of flow, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. I've always kind of said his name is Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi because that's how it's spelled, but in prep for this, I've realized that it's not said that way, so I've had to really think about it. Anyway, in the 1970s, this incredible, awesome Hungarian-American psychologist did a comprehensive study of flow state, what he termed flow state. He researched athletes, artists, surgeons, woodworkers, people just at the top of their game, and people who had those moments where they were just so involved in what they were doing. That genius flowed, that mastery flowed, that brilliance came out of it. Those people that you look and you think, how on earth do you do what you do? Ian, how? Where is Ian? Where are you, Ian? How do you do what you do? All of that humor, I look at that and I'm like, oh, just if I had a touch of that, how brilliant. And so I love the idea of flow state. And when I spoke about the moments of resilience, those moments where I've fallen down and I've not known how to pick myself up again, how to rise to that top level, I've dived deep into the NLP, into the mindset, into the strategies of peak performance so that I can harness that to have those incredible breakthrough moments again and again and again. So we know what it is, we know hopefully why we would want to get into those moments of flow state. So how do we get into flow state? There's 3 key principles that I've learned from sports that I'm going to try to share in the next 5 or 10 minutes because I'm not sure what time I started. So the 3 principles are the power of language, the power of process, and the power of letting go. Letting go for me, who is very cerebral, being one of the most challenging parts of those principles. So, let's start with language. Let me take you back to the 9th of June 2012. In sunny Sofia, Bulgaria, standing at the top of the runway, just moments before that crazy, jubilant, bouncing up and down performance, I'm often asked, Abs, what is going through your head at the top of the runway? What are you saying to yourself? My head down. Just 3 more centimeters. Doesn't make sense, does it really? I'm not always saying that to myself, but on that particular day, on that particular day, I'll have to take you back to round 4 for you to understand why I said that. In round 4, I had jumped 6 meters and 52 centimeters, 3 agonizingly close centimeters from the European Championship standard. Now, this would be my first opportunity to wear the senior vest on a big stage for the first time. And I really wanted that. I desperately wanted that. But not only that, I thought that that would be my ticket to the Olympic Games. I thought that could be my ticket to jump the Olympic standard, which was really, really far for me at the time. 6:52 was already a personal best. I was already in flow throughout the entirety of that competition. In round 5 then, I went for it and fouled. Put my foot over the line. So this is last chance saloon again. The power of language when it comes to flow state in particular is oftentimes we think that we need to have these big, gigantic goals or these, but when it comes to flow state, actually it's good to be challenged, but not too challenged. It's good to know that we can do the thing. And so 3 centimeters felt to me hard-ish, even though it's literally this. It felt hard, but it felt possible. So when I raced down that runway, leaped and landed, and heard the gasp and the applause of the crowd, I knew I had done something special. The power of language when it comes to what I'm doing on this stage right now, how I translate it from sports into speaking, is the fact that it needs to be relaxed. It needs to make me feel comfortable so that I can come on this stage feeling confident. So I'm having a conversation with you. I don't know your name. Your name is Felicity. I'll speak with you afterwards. So it's like, I have a conversation. It feels more firm. That feels like a challenge. But do you know what? I know how to have a conversation. I've been doing it since I could talk, even probably when I was a baby babbling. I've got a nephew, Cesare, and he's 7 months old, and he's just babbling away. I'm having a conversation with him. I don't know what he's saying, but he knows, like, he's speaking with me. So I feel like I can do that. It's within my zone of competency. That's the first part when it comes to language. The second part is process. Now, we hopefully all, actually, hands up, do we have any runners in the room? Recreational? I'm not going to put any pressure on you. Right, okay. Whether you're doing like your 5Ks, your marathons, London Marathon's coming up, whatever that looks like, what's your process? What's your technique? What's going on in your head when you're running? Who wants to shout out anything? Do you have a technique?
I just like to keep my spine taut. Nice form, nice technique.
Nice form, nice technique. Anybody else? Go on.
Just keep going.
Just keep going, one foot in front of the other. How about you?
Same thing, just keep going and think how lucky I am to be able to do this.
I genuinely think that as well when I'm at the training centre. I'm like, do you know what? What a blessing to be able to run, because there's been moments where I've not been able to do that, or walk. Go ahead.
Every mile I do ABC, so attitude, breathing, cadence, and make sure they're all back.
Okay, I'm going to speak with you afterwards. Okay, speak with the man at the back for more technical insights. Well, what I have understood, or what I've learned in sports, is the power of process, specifically in relation to technique. So let me take you to the top of the runway with me. So I race for 19 strides, 37.5 meters. It is blocked into 3 particular zones. In the first zone, I am pushing, I'm driving for 8 strides down that runway, trying to build up speed and momentum. My head is down, but as I stand up into the transition phase, I have to make sure that I'm standing up not too steeply, patient with that transition as I'm coming into upright running. And then in that third and final phase, I need to keep my hips high and my knees high and not over lower into the board, not drop, so that I can fly really, really far. And that's the simplified version. So So what I've learned as a speaker is that actually over this last year or so of being part of this incredible PSA Northwest tribe is the power of process, technical processes. There's things that I did not know before that I now know. So stuff like stagecraft and signposting, which I've been trying to do, language, process, letting go, all of these things. But the challenge is you're wondering, you know all these things, but I don't know, maybe there's some moments where I'm drifting into this conscious incompetency. There's some moments where I know what I need to do, but I'm not doing the things that I need to do because I don't know how to do them well enough just yet, because I'm new at the game. But I'm giving myself grace. I'm giving myself grace because there are moments where I shift into conscious competency, where I know that I'm doing the right thing at the right time. The thing is, though, if we want to reach the peak of that pyramid, the final piece of the puzzle for us to reach the peak of that pyramid, for us to get out of our heads and into our bodies, for us to have those moments of connection, of flow, of engagement, the next step is the letting go. And letting go for me is the hardest thing because I'm very much up here. And I know there's been feedback where it's like, I just need to connect with you a little bit more. I need the emotion, I need the heart of it. It feels very robotic at times because I'm having to think of every single thing that I'm saying and what I'm doing, and that's part of the process of learning. But the power of letting go is being able to trust that, the hard work, being able to trust the team that have supported you and given you the tips and the techniques, that will come good in its time. And that's what I've learned in sports. When I've been trying my hardest, because that's what we learn, we have to try really hard for success. That's when I fall down. That's when I don't do as well. It's when I'm able to release the reins that change happens. So in the final minute or two, I want to give you a couple of strategies around letting go. The first is breath, and the second is movement. So at the top of a runway, I know they're really, really simple strategies, but I like to keep things very simple when it comes to this. At the top of a runway, picturing that 680 moment, even without realizing that I was doing this, I guess, because I only really understood the processes of flow and all of this from 2015. I breathed in for 4 and I breathed out for 4. And we can all do this. Oftentimes we breathe, take a deep breath, and we're just stuck up here. But we actually need to do it through our tummy. Expansive breath. Can we do it together, just for 8 seconds? In for 4. And out. And I already feel so much more relaxed, because we go from our head and we just let it flush. It shifts our physiological response. Like, I'm not going to go into the science behind it, but it really does make a difference. The second part is, I've got this big clunky thing, but who wants to clap? And then I race down the runway. Unfortunately, we don't have that here, but that, oh my goodness, takes me out. And again, for time's sake, I can't tell you the times. The first time that happened to me, I literally stopped the whole stadium because I did not want eyes on me. And it's so crazy that I'm an athlete and a speaker who doesn't love attention or eyes on me. So the way that I get to that point where I can just flow and feel more comfortable is movement, shifting the energy. And the irony of it, it's antithetical, right? But when I've got all those eyes on me, I'm like, well, do you know what? I might as well do something with it. So that's the energy that I got to give. And that's the energy that I got to come with. So those are 2 ideas around letting go, and whatever that might look like. Another speaker, she said she runs on the spot in her seat before she gets, that's her movement. And I tried to do a little bit of that as well before I got on the stage. So I hope that for me, I know that this is probably a 6-meter moment for me. A moment where I have thought, oh my goodness, what if I fall flat on my face? And then I've had to challenge myself and say, oh, but what if you fly? And I know in sports, those moments where I've trusted, where I've lent in, those are the moments where I have flown, where I have ticked the boxes, where I have fulfilled an Olympic dream, where I have become British champion, where I have done so many incredible things that I could never have dreamed or imagined. And I hope that over the next 15 years, imbued with the power of flow, I can achieve similarly momentous things in my career, from sports to speaking. And I hope these principles around language, process, and letting go would also empower you, wherever you are in your stage and journey in speaking, to be brilliant. Thank you.